will now be recorded.
So let's call this meeting to order. I'm going to take a roll call. Commissioner Bowens?
Present.
Commissioner Glover?
Present.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Present.
Commissioner Wade?
Present.
And myself makes a quorum of 5. The minutes are before us for our last meeting. Is there any additions or subtractions?
I make a motion we approve.
I've got a motion to approve as written. Do I have a second?
Second.
I've got a second by Commissioner Wade. We'll do a voice vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any- The minutes carry. First on the agenda tonight is we're going to discuss the proposed change order for the solid waste drainage project. Trey, do you want to start with that?
Yes, sir. We opened bids on this project back in February 11th. We had 5 interested contractors. We received 4 submitted bids. The low bid was from a company called Infinity Pipeline out of Bowling Green, Kentucky, at a price of $106,680, so right at $107,000. We had budgeted about $150,000, so we got competitive bids by all the contractors. The second lowest bid was North Star Environmental at $135,000. As we got to investigating the project and trying to get it started, we determined that there were a couple of extra pipes that really needed to be included in this project. And we also discovered that we could use concrete pipe, reinforced concrete, instead of corrugated metal, which will provide a much longer life, will hold up to the truck traffic, and gives a considerably better hydraulic efficiency through the pipe because it's a smooth wall pipe. So I requested some pricing from Infinity. They submitted it and they were quite fair with it, I thought. And so for a change order of $18,513, which would bring our total project cost to $125,193, we can do this work and it will be a complete project with a longevity that we would desire, and we'd still be $10,000 under the second lowest bid. So I'll be glad to answer any questions, and my recommendation is to approve this.
I make a motion we approve this amendment in the amount of $18,513 for the additional piping that our engineer, Mr. Trey Fan, has suggested.
So I've got a motion by Commissioner Glover to accept the $18,513 change order for the solid waste drain project. Do I have a second?
Second by Bowens.
I've got a second by Commissioner Bowens. We're going to do a roll call vote. Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Bowens?
Aye.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, so that's 5 ayes. Ready to move on to number 2?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Second item on our agenda is our Finance Director, Jody Stewart, is going to present all fiscal 2020 and 2021 budgets for all funds except the school system. I want to turn the floor over to our Finance Director.
Okay. Sure everybody may or may not be wondering why we're presenting the budget in April 21st, which is actually 1 month earlier than previous years. We've been advised by the State Comptroller's Office recommendation to pass the county budget by June 30th and keep the budget flat. We have a proposed budget passing date. It's going to be an actual special called meeting on June the 22nd. And apology to all of my department heads because this is the week I usually meet with them and go over their budget. So I'm trying to fulfill the recommendation by the State Comptroller's Office due to the COVID-19. And if y'all will take a look at your budget book, open it up to the county general fund. Ms. Fay and Mr. James Bonds came in and got theirs today.
So to make sure All budget committee members got your book?
I got my book.
Yes.
Good deal. Thank you.
Turning behind the tab, y'all, 101 general, and gonna probably just go over the fund balance. They actually had me passing it flat, and that meant that the salaries were flat as well. But you'll notice the salaries, they're approximately $97,000 greater than last year. That's based upon the fact where there's a state mandate on the elected officials. Theirs was, I think, approximately $30,000 or $40,000 more than last year. I did take care of the election, got an extra election for election workers, and overtime is approximately $42,500. And with what's going on at animal control, the new facility that was proposed, and him having difficulty getting anyone to help him with the animals on the weekend, they requested a part-time person, so the part-time money was taken out, and that was approximately $19,000. So you'll notice on there that the proposed budget 21, the expenses are exceeding the revenues by $97,788, and that's basically the majority of it.
How much? 9071?
$97,788. And I think when I added those others up, it was around 97,100 and something. You could probably look at the difference up here where it says salaries. The 18,389,886 was budget for 20, and it's going over to 18,487,577.
So the difference is just in the salaries?
Well, there's multiple difference, but that seems to be a notable amount that to play on numbers. But actually, you will also notice that the projected ending fund balance is $12,016,217. These are all based on the March financials. And as always, I always like to commend the department heads. Everybody has been going by the order of essential spending only. And we can tell that in the office. So good ending fund balance there. You'll notice that the budgeted revenues in 20 were $37,871,730. And when you go to 21 year, it's $36,148,000. Although that looks like it's $1.6 million less revenue, 500,000 of it is your THDA, where they've got that grant, and nothing was even done on that one, so that was $500,000. And then you also have two other ones grant money for the sheriff department, got their $250 for technology security in the jail. And then Russell received a $252,000 grant. So basically that's $1 million of it. And I think the sheriff department is down on their revenues around $200,000. And again, when you look at the revenues, the comptroller told me to be as conservative as possible. So that is exactly what I did. I didn't go too conservative, but I did look at my 5-year history. I have a schedule that I looked at. So you'll also notice that in comparison on your budgeted salaries, it's $38,523,730 in expenses in the 20 budget, and it's down to $36,245,788. And again, that's your $1 million for the THDA and the 2 one-time grants. And then the others is basically the capital. There's no capital in there. Capital is around 700. The only capital that gets left in there are basically for, I think Lisa has some in there where hers is out of reserves. We leave in there for Joe and our IT. So the actual big capital number is not in there. You'll notice that the reserve has went up from $651,836 to $950. Basically what I've done is I've upped that to approximately $700,000. When I get to the end of the year, the reserves sometimes go up $50,000 or $100,000. The other 250,000 is the reserve where we've got the sheriff's money put aside for his IT. I think they're going to be voting on that at your county commission meeting coming up next Monday. So, are there any questions on the general fund that you all might have, or?
I don't have any.
I don't need them.
Okay, the next tab, we'll skip solid waste sanitation. It's got some difficulties, so we've decided we'll come back to solid waste at the end. So if you go to the next tab, Highway Department, Fund 131. Again, commending a department head. If y'all remember, they actually had the bridge collapse. I think that's got a final approval on it. They budgeted and thought that was going to be $1 million, and it's appeared that it's come in at the cost of $747.69. So that was a good value there. But their ending fund balance for the end of this year, their budget looks very typical and normal for highway, is $1,320,054, and their projected ending fund balance is $621,054. So their revenues pretty much are set by the state. Their gasoline tax, and from what we're aware of, what Lynette and Delvin have been informed of from Rodney Carmichael, he is the person who directs them on their revenues. They think that it will be flat. They did not say to take any out. And so you'll notice on their revenues, we went ahead and did that flat. The wheel tax, we did the same on that. I talked to Angie Grove, and although they did an extension for people to get their tags in June, I'm just keeping it based on what the numbers are now. This will be the first time that we're ever going to pass a budget where y'all will not have final actual figures. So I don't want to be too conservative that I said the revenue is going to come in so much less that it's a problem, but I don't want to go overboard as well. So it's been a challenge and a good thing. Do y'all have any questions on their budget?
I do not.
I do not.
Okay. Y'all will go to, 141. I believe he's coming on May the 12th, the school system to present. Here's your school director, Dr. Chris Causey. But the next one would be the green tab, Debt Service Fund 151. Okay. Some more good numbers on this, y'all. Their ending fund balance is projected to be $10,491,240. The actual budget for 21, their revenues are going to exceed their expenses by $1,291,000. And their ending fund balance projected for 21 is $11,782,240.
That's a solid number. That's good.
Very pleased with this, and talking to Ashley McAnulty, our financial advisor. He's real pleased to know, I believe this number makes us be at a 75% if everything tanked and there were no revenues at all in your debt service. We would be able to pay for our debt at the tune of 75%. So we had a meeting, I think, with him last month, and he had mentioned that Robertson County's finances in very good shape compared to all of the customers and clients he deals with were in the top. So that's another positive thing. And I was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Conservative on their revenues as well. I didn't want to do too much or too little. And I usually give you all the letter. I'll have to apologize. Today was busier than normal for me, so I didn't get the letter, but I will read a few things out here. The comptroller suggested that we go on ahead and we keep the property tax at the same $172,000 per penny. I have checked that number 2 or 3 different ways. The latest assessment summary I did receive from Chris Trauber, the assessor, calculated the numbers, and even did a 95%, say for instance, people couldn't pay their property taxes at the tune of 5%. They, 95 was all collectible. The 172,000 is a good solid number. Over in Sumner County, they are having their uncollectibles at 95% as well. So that's a good number there. The penny's going to stay at the same, 0.5759, and as of right now, the exact penny given to each fund is going to stay the same until we make any decisions to do anything different. So I've told you the different fund balances. There's no raises in the budget per the suggestion of the state comptroller. Everything's flat and there's not any capital in there at all. Y'all have any questions?
I've got a question on page 2 of debt service. We're looking at the rent for the driver's license building, and we got budgeted $31,770.
Oh, I did this budget when y'all thought you were gonna sell that building. So that, you can go on ahead and add an extra $80-some thousand on that.
Right.
On page 2, like he said, over there where it says 44990, other local revenues, rent driver's license building, I've got it at $31,770.
Well, I don't know if we want to add to it, because I think the plan for the county is to sell that building. I mean, so I don't think we need to add it to it. I was just seeing why that number was where it was at.
I thought that like through the first quarter, that's definitely not half. So I could maybe at least up it for mid-year. Let me put a note on this. Page 2.
So explain the plan on the building for me. Sell it.
Well, it was under my assumption that that the Building and Grounds Committee were waiting to get all the finishes done, and they're really close. And then I was understanding that they were going to sell it.
Good.
So is that a correct statement, Mayor?
Very correct.
Good.
Very correct. The work on it's just about over,
It is.
which they had quit. They're quit doing that ID stuff. All they're doing is renewals and not letting 10 people in the building. So, we was able to get a lot of work done while that was happening.
Good.
So you don't want me to change that number?
I mean, I think if our plan is to sell that building, no, because then we'll have to turn around and take it out. So no, I say leave it just like it is.
Okay.
If we keep it, it'll be extra money.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other questions with those 3 budgets?
This health department roof, is that
No.
is this for a roof on the health department? Oh,
Are you on the last page? Okay.
yeah.
Page 2.
Okay, basically what that is the county paid for to be put on the health department 8 or 9 years ago, and it's been paid off, and the health department brought it to our attention when they needed to do some capital that they wanted us to start paying them the money. This $37,500 is something we paid the state of Tennessee every year for a lot of years, and that needed an actual roof on it. I believe cost $502,000. And so they said, you go on ahead and do a forego on paying the state the money and just pay for the roof. So we've been paying that $37,500 under operating transfers over into debt service. And that's been paid off.
Yeah.
So I've moved it from down below where it said debt service, health department, roof paid, and then now I've moved it up to $5,500, $316,950. And I just thought it was easier to show the whole 4 years under one column and give an explanation. Speaking of the contribution, y'all, we were missing, I think, a couple. I don't think the Adams Senior Center sent theirs in. And we did just get the Montgomery Robertson Community Corrections, and I think she told me she got that either today or late yesterday. And
We don't have that page, is that correct?
right,
Okay.
I didn't feel comfortable giving it to you if you didn't have all of it. So I can give those to y'all next week on the contributions. On the contributions, there was still a little bit of a discussion where the lady Byron Porter, she wanted to ask for 20 if senior citizen 20. So the Citizen Center did ask for 20, but the controversy before the budget passed last year, we all said that was a one-time. So I put it back to 10. If y'all want to change that, let me know. Basically, everybody else is the same. Secure is gone out. That they're not in more. And there was only $50 on one of the Mid-Cumberland. So basically, everything one of that or is in there, and you see your library is at the same amount they received last year.
So we can look at that next week.
Okay.
If you get that sheet put together ahead of time, I'd love to see it ahead of the time for me.
I would as well.
Well, what I'm thinking is it'll be the whole packet, so I'll just scan it to everybody.
Appreciate it.
And if you don't want to print it off,
That's fine.
I'll print
That's
you a
great.
copy as well.
Great, thank you.
Next week, scan, backup docs. They're available. Okay. Are y'all ready to move on?
I'm ready.
Ready.
All right, let's move on.
The last item will be under tab 167. That's the waste fund. Have spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out what has happened with solid waste. Please let it be known, I've worked here for 28 years, and all of my 28 years, I've never been faced with anything like this and the projections for solid waste's 21 budget. If you'll look on their first page here, these aren't numbered because I put them in after the fact. You will notice that their ending fund balance projected coming in is $218,657,000. When I did the calculations very conservatively, I came up with a much greater minus and had to do a lot of investigating because I thought that just could not be right. So when I came back in the office week Monday, went through the numbers, double, triple, quad checked myself, had a couple ladies in my office. We went through all of it. And then Budget Committee Chairman Keith Hoover, he helped me obtain the monthly report that they receive from solid waste. And it basically confirmed that my numbers of them being at a deficit projection in 21 is going to happen. The concerning thing I had was when we looked at the monthly report, and when you looked over just to the far left column by month, it actually started having a negative. You were in the red there, where you were paying out more for disposal fees than you were receiving in way back in July.
It could have been June because we don't even have transfer station income in the month of June. It's not even on there.
Well, in the month of June, that's because it'll be a larger number. It'll have the receivables on there. The month of June, probably, if you look at last year, it said 279,000 and change. The month of June probably was that number, anywhere between 250 and 300. I've seen that historically all the years working here. they one time a year post all the receipts that haven't been collected.
Gotcha.
So that number, June was probably okay.
As an accountant, why don't we post them monthly and carry an accounts receivable number somewhere so that we're watching it?
That's what I had asked, and I think they're gonna start doing that on their report.
Yes.
Somewhere or another, it needs to be reported. What that accounts
I'm almost
receivable
certain Corey said she would start putting that on her, this same report, new line item.
is. Okay.
Yeah, I think this report, there might need to be a little bit more information. Because that would have been helpful. Because you start seeing the minus come into play.
Yeah. Yeah, where you are. What can I do for you?
So when you start out in July, you see that your disposal fees are $142,000 and you only received in $119,000. The next month was okay. This is the way it should have been in the next month. Your disposals were less. They were $139,000 and the revenue that came in was $168,000. Out of the 9 months of this fiscal year, there were only 2 months like this. All the others were at a minus. 155,000 disposal fee and the revenue coming in was only 141. So when you get to the end of 9 months, what's happened is there's 176,907.30 more expense than revenue, and that should not have been in the red. That should have probably been flipped the other way. So this confirmed my numbers, and when I went back to prepare this budget, I ended up discovering that it appears, although the first 9 months, they were averaging $153,000 a month, April appears that it will be around $300,000, possibly a little more. Don't know what May is, so I've estimated May at the same 153, and I do believe June will come in at 250. So my revenue here that I've estimated at $2,077,361, I think will come in. It could be a few thousand more, but it's still pretty close to 200,000 under budget. Kind of went out on a limb. You'll notice here in 21, the auditor said that we could pass the budget flat. So I've got it estimated that hopefully the revenues will come in at $2,273,000, which is the same amount in this year's budget. But if you all will turn a couple pages where it says transfer station, okay? When you're looking at the transfer station, the expenses for solid waste, they had an actual contract agreement that went up. Those fees went up at the October. So this $2,478,675, I know looks like a large number, but I had an amount that we paid in November and an amount that I paid in March that was $206,000 and change. And the very minimum that I could do is take this $206,000 and multiply it by 12. That's really, not the way I would normally do it. I would say surely that's going to be at least 2, 3, 5% more, but I'm trying to come as close to a number to where, this is going to be more actual than any kind of fluff thing in it. I'm just at a loss because yes. So, again, I have looked at this myself and a couple of ladies in my office and done some research. And basically, this is something I have had to spend a lot of time on over the last week, but it's really important because the comptroller will not allow you to pass a budget like this that's at a negative. And we have about $170 million worth of budget, between 160 and 170 million. And we can't allow this small budget hold up the whole operations of Robertson County government. It's just not gonna, it just can't happen. Just can't allow that to happen. So that being said, we've been doing some check-in on what we can and we can't do. And I think I'll turn it over to you, Keith Hoover.
Last budget meeting, we voted, Commissioner Wade, you made the motion and Mr. Bowen seconded it, but to take back that $500,000 from solid waste to put into the general fund. And I think at this time, I think we probably need to rescind that to keep that money set aside to pull us out of this deficit. It'll solve it, a one-time fix now, but we're gonna have to jump into this and find out why we're short, where the money's going. I've started flipping back through here for the year of 2020. There has been, we've been negative every month. And not a little bit, I mean, it's by a solid amount. So we're,
And I just got some questions
let's
that
hear.
I've got to address. The $500,000 is in the account. We made a motion last week, has been to this county commission yet, so we can rescind it here and not send it. The money stays where it's at.
Correct.
Correct.
What was it put into the budget for? In their budget for?
For the pit project.
Well, the PIP project's not going to happen.
No,
so
it's
where are
not.
we going to put it in the budget? Where's it going to be plugged into that sanitation department's budget?
Well, here's the thing, and we hadn't even jumped into this, but if you'll remember, we did a interlocal loan, and they were supposed to pay $200,000, which they did last year,
I
correct?
did make one $200,000 payment, yes, sir.
Where they're at right now, they can't make their payment this year. So in essence, we're going to give this $500,000 back, and they're going to be able to pay us back $200,000, and that'll get into their second payment. And then we've got to have this to pull out of this deficit, this negative, so we don't get a finding on this.
So that the auditors don't slap us on the wrist that we ended a year with a out of budget.
Correct.
And of course, we need to figure out why we weren't getting budget amendments or some requests for help before. That's to be decided, I guess. But the 200 and something thousand that you're going to leave in there, where does it go on the budget?
Called an operating transfer. It's an operating
So
transfer.
we're plugging in, we're going to put an operating transfer of money from the fund balance to wherever to keep this thing from us getting written up.
Well, you got a couple of things to consider, Commissioner Wade. They did this project for $1.1 million, okay? And if you'll look at that on the page near the end where it says they did an operating transfer to other funds, 171 capital. So in 19, they put $1.1 million over there. So what they basically done of that, they borrowed $600,000, okay, and they're paying it back over a 3-year period. And then they used $500,000 of their own fund balance. And it kind of seems like they really couldn't afford to use the $500,000 when you get to a troubled year.
Yep.
So what will in essence be said is that solid waste comes up and they paid $600,000 for a $1.1 million project, and the county general fund assisted them by paying $500,000.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to come back and say that they were bailed out. But basically, the original reason it was put over there was for the pit.
The pit.
And the pit's not going to happen. So now, if you guys go ahead and rescind those 2 budget amendments,
Money's sitting there to get us out of the
Yeah,
jail.
and at the
Yeah.
time that we used that money, things were going great out there. Where it's taking a turn at, I don't know. I've spent countless nights looking at this. I can't figure it out. It's troublesome.
Yeah.
Because there's no answer to this.
Well, let's get rid of the 35 and 36. I make a motion to rescind those and that it not be taken to the county commissioner, the previous motion.
So I've got a motion by Commissioner Wade to rescind budget amendments number 35 and number 36. Do I have a second or any more? I got a second by Commissioner Glover. Is there any more discussion on this? Seeing none, let's vote. Commissioner Stubblefield?
Yes.
Commissioner Wade?
Yes.
Commissioner Glover?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowens?
Yes.
And the chair votes aye, so that's 5 ayes. That carries. Thank you, Commissioner Wade. That'll solve it for this year, but we've got to.
Well, let's talk about where we,
well, I'm going to avoid these 2.
okay.
Okay, because they've been sent over to the county commission. I got to let Ms. Sheila know to not put them in the package. And normally today it was supposed to be at noon, so I've given her a heads up that this might transpire at the meeting tonight.
Okay.
So I'm just going to avoid these 2 based upon this vote.
So where what else, what's the next step that we need to take here?
I would love to know the answer to that because I've beaten my head against the wall trying to figure out where this money's going and why.
Okay, we've got several of the building and the sanitation committee on the call, don't we?
Yes. Yeah, I know Commissioner Glover's on there.
I'm on there right now, and my question is, I guess Miss Jody, these figures that she was throwing out about how much we was coming up short each month. We just went up on our rates, and that was supposed to went in effective in April. Is that going to help us, or what do we need to do?
Here's what happened on that. It's my understanding the rates were $31.70 a ton and they went up to $35.70 a ton. Just off the top of my head, that's 10 to 12%. It's my understanding y'all only went up 5 and 6%. So we did go up on the fees, but I'm not feeling like you went up enough because our expense went up greater than what the fees went up.
And I can remember being at a committee meeting where y'all discussed the fee increase.
I was there when it voted to go up, and it was done on a calculator. Said let's go up 5%, and boom, that's what they went.
And I know we have to think about what others around us are doing and all the rest, but we got to be able to cover our what it's costing us. We can't be in a deficit. So, are we all feeling confident that the problem is nothing more than our outgo on this contract is more than this coming in?
I see that our solid waste director, Miss Corey Stewart, is on the phone. She's the one out there with the operation. She should know what's going on. I think it might be a good question for Corey.
Well, I'd like for anybody to give us an idea of what's and why we didn't catch it. Corey, are you?
Yeah, I think I got it unmuted now. I think the combination of the rate increase and I told Mr. Hoover the other day, I feel like since the population has grown and the free trash that we're taking in from the convenience centers makes a big difference. Because used to what we brought in at convenience centers that people were allowed to dump for free pretty much equaled out to the penny rate we were getting from taxes. And I feel like that being the same for 10 or 12 years now, I feel like that extra trash that's being dumped for free has also brought us down a certain percentage every year.
Well, have you ran numbers to prove that? If you've got numbers that shows that volume has increased and and the tax rate no longer covers it, I'd like to see it because that tells me we might need a tax rate that's given to you. But I don't want to do anything like that. It's got to be something that they actually look at something that's the problem.
Right.
I don't want to be guessing. So
yes, I can pull those numbers based on from year to year, and show what the increase has been. I don't know the last time that penny was. I don't know if it was 1 or 2 pennies was taken away. I don't remember what year that was, but I can actually go back pretty far. Just depending on how far you want me to go back.
I want you to prove that what you need to do is go back and prove that the increase over these last several years has thrown you to where the penny does not cover the cost of the trash is coming in from the residents of the county.
All right, so that should include the tonnage for all the convenience centers. The tonnage for City of Springfield, and I don't remember whether the White House is getting some.
White House is 50%. They pay half the gate rate.
That needs to be factored in so we get a complete picture of where expenses on we have not compensated or been compensated for. And there might be something that would come to mind. I mean, that just comes to my mind off the top of my head.
I got another question. We got a report that we get And this is it, right? It comes to every county commissioner every month, right?
Yes.
This report, Jody, are you seeing this and reconciling it to the revenue and that what's going on through your books? Are you seeing this report?
I'm not getting it into my office. No, sir.
Well, you know what? We're now sitting here having to look at this and say, why, who didn't catch what? I feel like it sounds like to me, there's a lot of folks that didn't catch and wasn't paying attention.
But are you doing that for other departments?
No, sir.
So-
I look at everybody's budget based on their expenditures. I never have been worried about the revenues for,
Yeah.
She
Highway
shouldn't have to be
department
she should not have to be the watchdog
or
for a
solid
solid waste
waste.
I
director.
agree, I agree. And that's not
Randall
my
took
point.
care of it in the past.
Hold on just a second. It's not my point that she has to reconcile this to the books and revenue, because really you can't. There's no accounts receivable on the report. My thing is, but she's probably not being given the accounts receivable number anyway.
Not till June 30.
Well, it needs to be coming into here monthly. To you, you need to be knowing the number. To me, I'm an accountant, a CPA, and there's certain things on numbers that just ought to be done. I'm going to apologize that I had seen some reports and saw the negatives, but to be honest, they're buried in reports that we get from the county commission. It's obvious that we're not all paying attention.
Well, I apologize too. Being budget committee chair, it should have jumped out to me a long time ago. But there again, I can't police every single department.
I agree. Who can police this?
Well, even the lady who does the,
Well, to be honest with you, it's a solid waste director's job to do this.
The person that's supposed to be policing this and raising the red flags and throwing out everything is the director and the chairman and the committee that's overseeing that department. They're the primary on the line of responsibility, in my opinion. Now, I'm sorry, fellas and ladies, but this should have been coming to us months ago with, we need a budget amendment. We need something. We need some monies transferred.
Well, we
in.
got problems. Help
We
us
got
figure it out.
problems. Help us figure it out. Right now, we know that they've got a problem with revenue and they got to increase their revenue. But budget committee can't sit here and say, raise it another 25%, because we don't know what in the heck whether even that'll solve the problems completely.
I do have a point to make. Once I did receive all these and I saw the continual minuses every month, I have a huge question as to why the solid waste director didn't say something to me back in July, and we could have started taking a look at it then. There's quite a few things that happened, like she expressed. They had the scales were broken, so they were also guessing on revenues. She's right about the rates going up, but fiscal year ending 19 came in okay, and I think they were guessing on rates as well there too. So I'm puzzled that you're just now finding out about it, and it's really came to light when I prepared the budget.
Is everything weighed going in and out so that we know that there's no opportunity for anybody to overbill us?
I'm under the assumption now, starting April the 15th, operating hours, yes, that is being done. Now, there is trailers is leaving during in evenings that nobody's there to weigh.
That's Corey.
Corey, is that correct that that's being done since April the 15th?
Yeah, they started keeping a chart in the scale house, but before that, we went by the actual loads on that invoice that
So
the mayor showed.
Taking every word that they're not stealing from us. I'm sorry, y'all. Take the word to me. So so how many loads are going out of there at night without anybody there to?
It just depends on how much we get in each day. They stay till the floor is clean. There could be 2 that go out. There could be 1 that goes out in the morning before we open, if they can bring us the empty then.
Well,
But because of us having to have the floor cleaned every day, sometimes there's 2 or 3 loads still on the floor by closing time.
Well, is any written documentation or is being kept about the number of loads that go out that are not being weighed? Is a calendar kept on each day?
Of how many loads are loaded?
No, how many loads that go out that are not weighed across the scales? The ones that before the scales up and the ones that after the scales blow.
The only time I see those actual numbers is when I get the bill for those.
My question is there anybody in your department for sure out each day or not wait?
I mean, unless we go back and ask them the next morning, I don't know until they come. I mean, sometimes it's 8 o'clock at night and our people are gone when they come switch them out. So I can't get a wait on those unless I had, somebody there at that time.
This number is so significant, in my opinion, that I truly believe the state comptroller needs to get involved and we need an audit of that department. I think in order to rule everything out, to figure out where this is coming from, that's the way I feel about it. Now, y'all don't have to do it, but I just feel like to get to the bottom of this, we've got to search everything and search for every reason.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we direct the finance director to call State Tennessee and invite him in to do an audit of the sanitation.
I'll second.
So I've got a motion by Commissioner Wade to call State Comptroller's office to possibly audit this department. And then I've got a second by Commissioner Glover. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. Commissioner Bowens? Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Stubblefield?
Yes.
Commissioner Wade?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's 5 ayes. Any more discussion on this?
Well, I think there's quite a bit more information as a committee member that needs to be available each month. So that personally, I could make a better assessment of the operation. And it would come to my mind, Jody may have some other thoughts on it, but there would be the history for the, it'd be like a spreadsheet where it would show what it is each month.
Well, I would suggest that the auditors be given an opportunity to look at the system as it works today. And it's not so much give us some ideas of what we're doing and how we can close the gaps.
I think they'll make some recommendations.
And let them, let's take, that takes a committee out of it, takes the director of the sanitation out of it. Let them look and open it up and let them look and let them come back and say, look, this is where y'all fell down. And I'm going to tell you, I think we all got a little bit because it's in that package.
It's in a packet of reports.
It's
That's
the
it.
monthly
I know,
report.
but it's in there.
But to y'all's credit, you're right. You're getting so many pages, it's hard to look at everything.
Well, we've
we're-
got to do more now, fellas.
I think now we're having to rely heavily on the committees to police this. And I will do a better job personally looking at
And
Now,
I believe that the directors, it's kind of their responsibility to when you go to committee meetings to say, look, this is an issue. Did you know in that we've got a trend going on here? This should have been reported and noticed months ago.
I agree. I agree, Stubblefield.
Well,
But I think this solid waste committee is going to start meeting more regularly than once a month. And of course, they didn't meet last month or this month because of this. But I think things are opening back up May 1st. And, you may need weekly meetings or bi-monthly meetings. I don't know. But we've got to get to the bottom of this.
well, I think one of the things that if I was a committee member, I would be wanting to do right now is find out what every county around us is doing, make sure I had it documented in writing what everybody's doing, and then look at the history like we've talked about. If we took 2 cents away from her in the past, then we got to relook and see if we're not giving enough.
She may need a penny back. I don't know.
But we don't know. We get the numbers.
We don't know.
And that's part of what maybe the state's going to tell us when they come in.
all right, I've already inquired about the mayor. Are you going to call a meeting on this matter for the solid waste committee?
Mr. Glover, I was gonna do it just as soon as y'all got done today.
Okay.
But if we got time for the audit committee to do their work before we raise fees, we're gonna go a couple more months.
No, we got to raise fees now.
That's
The committee needs to go on.
If
and
it was
start
left up
working
to
on
me,
that.
I'd raise fees tonight.
The problem is right now is we don't want trash sitting on the side of the road because we've raised our fees too high and
Well,
nobody wants to
State
dump.
comptroller has warned us about
Cheatham
that.
County charges $75 a ton.
I'm
I know
gonna
what they're doing. I made some phone
I think
calls.
we're getting a lot of trash out of the county. I don't care if we lose that business or not, if we're losing money on it.
Exactly
I
right.
agree.
Well, what are we charging per ton?
We're charging, what are we at?
It's, 50,
54.
$54
And Cheatham
a ton?
County, 75.
Why in the world are we so cheap, y'all?
I didn't know Cheatham
Well,
County.
no wonder we get so much out of county because we're so much cheaper than everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we get a lot of Cheatham County because it's convenient.
It's closer to us. Their dump is way out there. They're,
well, all right, of course, then you get, we've had a discussion before with the committee going back 2 or 3, 4 years about out of county trash. Of course, you had talked about what you'd have to provide in Logan County, for instance, as an
Right.
example. And I don't know how much a ton, but when you take trash to the, landfill there, you have to show that you got property in Logan
property
County.
in Logan County.
And,
correct.
of course, that's what gets into things when we talk about out of county trash. And of course, that's gonna be more time consuming.
Well,
But I mean, I don't
have to show my
disagree. I'm
driver's
just,
license. That ought to tell you where I live.
Well, hey, one of the reasons we're not at Bi County anymore is because they found out we was taking out of county trash. That, you know, Stewart County is on that board and they was very unhappy that we was taking trash out of Davidson and Cheatham and carrying it down there and putting it in their landfill. They had a contract with us, but they didn't know we was. So,
Well, it's not the little individuals, I don't think. This is trucks coming in hauling trash. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah.
You're
I'm
talking about the.
Probably commercial, stuff like it, but you ought to see.
if it's done right, though,
We
we
make
should
money.
make money. And the city of Franklin is doing that down there. They'll take anybody's trash because they've got their rate set right. They know what they're paying to get it out of there, and they're making money.
It sounds
off of
like
it.
the budget this committee can meet next week. And if we're that much further behind Cheatham, how much further are we behind the others around us? And let's get it adjusted and get it done.
See, Sumner County don't even have convenience centers.
And I like the convenience center because I use it every week.
But that's free trash.
I guess to a certain degree.
Well, let me ask you
Yeah.
a question. I pay property taxes. I
I know.
assumed it was in my property tax. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying I've got an answer,
Yeah.
but if we're going to charge, then charge everybody, anybody, that don't matter where you come from. Our landfill, or our waste system has to be paid for. Everybody comes in is gonna pay whatever it is per ton,
Well, let's face
me
it.
included.
If we gotta raise fees, we don't need to be losing money. And if they're paying cheaper because they're coming here, then we need to fix it. I don't like that kind of business. We don't need that kind of business.
No, we don't
Well,
want.
well, if it's fixed right, then that's fine. Let them bring it. But we're losing percentage wise off that profit. So
did you not tell me in Logan County, if you go in with out of county, there's an additional fee?
yes,
So if you're an out of county hauler, then the fee is more.
correct.
The question is, how do you know they're out of county hauling? Right
Well-
down there in Ridge Top, there's probably 2 or 3 that they go everywhere.
That's correct.
But they're living right there in Ridge Top, and I lay you money, they're getting passed on down here somehow.
Well, I mean, you've got these pickup services. I've even followed trucks from over in Davidson County and it comes straight to down here. And of course, they got routes in Robinson County and probably in Cheatham County and Davidson County.
When I found out that the people that's hauling our trash away is bringing trash in and dumping it, that tells me we got something broke.
We're too cheap.
I mean, if the guy's gonna dump it, and then we're gonna load it back on his truck, and then him get paid big money to haul it back off, something ain't right.
Well, let's just raise the fee and get it to a place where we can make money.
Well, of course, we're paying 34,
That'll stop it some.
34
We're paying
something.
$34.70, but this new contract has got it where if they load that truck at 72,000 pounds, we're paying for 80,000 pounds. If they load it at 69,000 pounds, we're paying for 80,000 pounds. It don't take many loads loaded like that in a month. And we've got several trucks that we pay for that could have been full. So, I don't have the answer to it, but it's frustrating as hell sitting here with this number staring in front of me.
Well, it's gonna have to be corrected. for
Well,
sure.
I think we seen this coming a couple months ago. I said, something ain't right here. but I was told the accounts receivable would take care of it. And once we get that on there, we see what the accounts receivable is, and we find out how much trash we're getting in every day and what's being shipped and what the money is. I mean, you ought to know the money every day or every week. I mean, not just by the month.
Yeah. But accounts receivable should, by this point, shouldn't it be caught up like we're billing for April and getting it in May? I mean, should it not?
I'm wondering what they mean by accounts
Yeah.
receivable.
That's
Because it
what
sounds like they're
charged.
doing it one time a year. Is that just the previous months that didn't?
It ought to be done.
Joe, I mean, Corey, every month y'all send
Yeah.
out, every month, all right.
The one time a
First day
year.
of the month. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Just, it needs to be on the report so we can see it.
And it's going to be, from what my understanding, she's going to put that on the.
Yes. When we bill out on the first of the month, the bills are due on the 15th. Some straggle in with the corporate ones. Sometimes they'll get there by the 20th or even the 25th, because of them having to process through their corporate offices and mail the check out. But we have at the end of each month, when we do our next billing cycle, we can show what's not been accounted for the previous month.
What's the oldest accounts receivable you've got?
I've got one account that's 90 days, but it's something with a bad check in the trustee's office, and we never got back with the lady. It's like $4,000 something. We never could trace the lady back down on the charge account. Then she wrote a bad check to the trustee's office.
Let's, if it's okay with this committee, let's stop at this point. Let's move on.
I agree.
But we know we got a problem, and we're gonna get it fixed. I'll promise that.
So y'all have a meeting next week.
We got the sheriff here too, right?
Yes, the sheriff is here. The meeting next week, do y'all want me to inform the budget, the department heads that you've seen their budget? And I could just about tell you, these budgets are lean like they've done every year. Send out the comptroller letter to them, because you had said that I should have sent that out, Mayor.
Yeah, send that out to them. I think
I'll send them the comptroller letter. And what do you want me to inform all the other department heads about, if they have any needs above this to make a?
That's, no, I mean, I don't want to hear anything. The budget is what it is.
We've been told a flat budget.
A flat
So
budget.
a flat
So
budget is a flat budget.
Yeah.
So it means no increase.
I don't need to hear what they need because they're not getting it.
You know, we're just gonna have to push everything off.
I mean,
I'll
I'm
be
just-
honest, when you made the comment that you raised the budgets in this thing for the elected officials, I'm gonna tell you, I don't like that.
I don't like it either, Dennis.
We got people all over this county that are out of jobs and out of work, and
Hey.
businesses going under.
I know it's state mandated,
And
but
we're-
it's wrong.
it's wrong.
It's wrong. I
It's
agree.
wrong.
But my, hey,
I'll ask them
bringing it
tomorrow.
up is not, it's just pointing the finger at state, me and all them. I got nothing to do with it, you know.
I know you, I'm
Yeah.
not
Well-
blaming any one of y'all.
Yeah, but,
I'm blaming, it
don't
sends the
think I
wrong
deserve a
message.
raise if employees don't get one.
I
don't
agree
deserve it.
that, and I don't, and where I'm at, you all deserve it, but does this whole community deserve what they're having to go through right now? And it sends a bad sign out there when we start doing things
Well-
that we're not supposed to.
I guess you need to talk to our state.
You bet I've already talked. I've already put a call in to some people at the governor's office on some things that I didn't.
Sheriff, you got your budget ready? You wanna talk
So
about
I'm
it tonight?
not, I'm not just, I don't want you to think I'm just bitching here with you.
Well, I wish you
Tony.
wouldn't wear your mask so I could see if you're smiling. There you go.
Well, state comptroller.
Hey, I was told by the mayor, I was told by the mayors and the governors that I have to wear a
You
mask.
look like
when I'm-
Jesse James over there.
Well, I got my beard, it's looking pretty good.
Let's move along. We're an hour into this meeting and I want to get sheriff.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
want to take much of your time tonight, but, I just want to address the committee real quick, because this is a different way of doing budgets than we've ever had to do it before. And we are in the middle of a pandemic, I understand that, but I have a job I have to do, and I have to have the resources to do it by law. And my costs aren't decreasing. Maybe with gasoline for a little while, but they're going to come back and get their money out of the gasoline eventually. But natural gas went down a little bit. Everything else is up a little bit. I started working on our budget back in February before all this stuff hit. And we had a lot of needs in there, and we had a few wants in there. And after talking to Jody and looking at what the comptroller put out, I went back through our budget last few days, and all the wants are gone. No new personnel, all that's out, and a lot of the needs have already been taken out. With that being said, I presented the chairman and our finance director with the proposed budget from the sheriff's office of what we need to operate. Right now, what we're looking at is a 2.6% increase, which is about normal from year to year. You're looking anywhere from 2.5% to 5% increases based on just cost of business and inflation and everything else going up. The one thing I've got in there, I know was said earlier, is there's no raises in there. Folks, if I don't get anything else, I've got to have my step increases for my employees. They are on the front lines out in this pandemic right now. We're used to serving in a dangerous situation, but what we're not used to is being exposed to highly contagious disease on a daily basis in these homes and having to turn around and take it home to our families. I've already had one employee quit over it. I can't lose any more employees. I can't provide service and keep this community safe if I don't have the employees to do it with. So I beg you to consider that step increase and continue to do it.
How much is that step increase?
We're looking at $225,000 as an estimate. Based on the numbers that I ran the other day, we're looking at an estimate of turning in about $400,000 not spent this year. We're also looking at about $100,000 for inmate boarding, additional revenue. So, we're looking at close to $500,000 we're going to turn back in, and that'll twice pay for what our pay plan is.
How much is EMS? You can't give it to the sheriff's department without giving it to EMS.
I agree. They're on the front lines too, and they deserve every bit of it too.
How much would it be EMS?
I think EMS was approximately 100 or 125.
None of my employees are at home collecting a check, sitting there. They have to come to work, and if they call out sick, then they're required to use their paid time, their sick leave or their vacation leave. They want a check right now.
How many cars do you have in your budget, Sheriff?
Right now, I requested 8 marked units and 2 unmarked. Y'all know vehicles, year to year are fixed costs for me. I have to respond to the scene of things. My mileage is not decreasing, it's increasing. Last month alone, we had a 33% increase in domestic violence calls. That's a big increase. That's a big increase.
And I heard that was coming.
And that's the most dangerous call these people have to go on is domestic violence. That's not just here, that's across the country. We're all seeing it. And when you have other elected officials here on the news talking about, coming up with hazardous duty pay for their first responders, we at least got to keep with our step plan. We just got to do it. I appreciate y'all's consideration in that. I work with you any way I can. I've always been a team player.
What?
But I got to operate too.
Let me ask you a question. Instead of a step, what if we gave a special COVID-19 compensation? That it's a one-time thing. I think nobody in this county, would argue with you about what you're saying. Y'all are on the front lines. But maybe where it's a step increase and it goes on forever, what about a COVID-19, something, one-time payment?
I think if you use that as the reason to continue funding the step increases that we have a plan for, that would be the best way to handle that. But I got a lot of people that look, coming to work here and they're like, yeah, I'm not making much now. And I think I discussed with the chairman too. My starting pay from 2015 not increased any. We've had a 9.9% increase in the cost of living inflation rate, but we hadn't been able to, because we don't get any cost of living added to our pay plan, it hasn't moved any since 2015. These people starting today are making 9.9% less than they did in 2015. We need to address that. This is not the year probably to address that, but I got to keep the employees I got. And, these people come to work and they see, hey, you got a pay plan, and I appreciate the county commission year after year. Even the hard years, you just decided, yes, we got to fund that because we got to keep these employees. And it's worked, and it's helped us recruit people because they know, hey, in 5 years, I could be making this, or 6 years, I could be making this, They have a future.
I don't need an answer tonight, but would you consider giving up your cars in this budget to fund your pay plan? And 6 months into this budget, we review your transportation needs, your vehicle fleet, and if 4 cars are needed, maybe we can find the money for it. If it's more than that or less than that, whatever. But in order to keep your pay plan, because I know how important that is to you and your department, I could support something like that.
So if I got people, I got nobody to drive cars, so it's
Right.
more important. I gotta have vehicles, but I understand the situation, and we probably need to look at some more actual numbers coming in and stuff. To be honest with you, Ford's shut down right now. We've got cars on order. I don't know when I'm gonna get those from this year's budget, so we need to revisit our capital projects for vehicle needs. So around December, in that time frame, we'll make it work.
What kind of mileage do usually you have on vehicles that you retire?
Usually they're running 135, 155,000 in that neighborhood. Sometimes it's a little less if it's a piece of junk that we just keep having to throw money into. Sometimes it's more than that, so.
Really, it's the hours, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a misnomer, so that's
Hey,
mileage.
I
But when
looked
you
at one
talk
the other
about
day, had
idling
100
hours,
I looked at one today, had 130,000
Yeah,
miles
I
on it.
understand.
But it
It's
had
a
over
lot of
6,000
hours.
I
miles.
was gonna say, your idle hours, yeah, you're pushing like 300,000 mile cars, you know? And they're emergency vehicles, you know? I got a truck that's got 300,000 miles on it. It's my personal truck. If I break down, so what? These cars break down going on to a call, somebody could die.
Finance Director.
So Sheriff, you honestly think if the economy is difficult and all that maybe like $1,000 or $1,500 bonus would be a no?
I don't think that's gonna help my morale. I think if we continue to stay with the pay plan as we have adopted and continue to fund, that is the best way for me to attract employees and keep employees. You wanna throw $1,500 on top of that, we'd love that too.
No, I'm not one throwing 15 on,
We appreciate that too.
but I just have a hard time.
Yeah, it's hard times is all I was like, Dennis.
We've been told to hold it where it was. Did the comptroller mean give it to them and make them a exception? They told us to hold it where it was.
Well, that was a guideline and a suggestion, but not every county's the same in the state of Tennessee, and we've been very blessed in Robertson. I don't think we're in near as bad shape as some of these other counties.
Well,
Like I said,
I
we're
do
And
trying
I think it's because of our conservative right
We've
here.
been doing it, and we got a
That's-
rainy day fund that's
Right.
really well built up, and this is.
I
could be a
don't
rainy
want it
day.
on my shoulders
Could be a rainy
that
day.
we don't give them raises.
I
and-
agree.
And he gets to where he's 25 and 30 and we have people dying because of it. I don't need that on me.
You know, unfortunately, I had the one quit, and I had to fire 3 of them in the last 2 weeks. I'm up to 13 openings right now. I don't need anything else to get in the way of me having staff.
I received an email today that I probably need to read to y'all from the comptroller. It's in regards to additional resources for your fiscal year 21 budget adoption. They said late Friday, the Division of Local Government Finance partnered with Michigan State University to host and record a panel discussion on budgeting during a crisis. You can view it and other guidance from our office at the link pncot.cc/COVID-19. Attached is a memo with further information relevant to preparing for fiscal year 21. Please read it and let us know if you have any questions. So I'll be more than happy on this link to send it to any of
Yes,
y'all
send
who are
it out
interested.
to us.
Yeah, send it out.
Should I send it out to all the county commissioners?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And they're
And any guidance they're giving us on anything, if they've got written guidance, I'd love to read it too. I don't mind going to the link and seeing what they're teaching everybody, but I'd like to also see what the state of Tennessee is telling us.
Yeah, it's saying, thank you for continuing reaching out, and based on the needs expressed by many finance directors across the state, our office partnered with this Michigan State University Center local government to record a discussion on topics relevant to budgeting during crisis, including revenue forecasting and cash management. You can watch the recorded discussion approximately 1 hour, so y'all know, at the following link. And they welcome feedback, and they're extremely important to understand that our government's budget is a challenging document. In other words, once the budget is approved by June 30th, it is not fixed in stone. The procedure for amending budgets are posted on the website at the following link. So it sounded to me like they're trying to get us to get a good base and then do a wait and see.
And nobody knows what COVID-19 is going to look like in December.
Kind of like on the sanitation, solid waste budget concerns. This is what I've estimated based on March. And then I looked at they have better revenues in April. So April and May might bring the number a little bit better. I'm hoping it doesn't bring it a little bit worse, but it's basically that if you have more information, then you can have a better estimate for the following year.
I think we all gonna do what the best we can to
Absolutely. That's all we
to
can.
help
Yeah,
the sheriff.
one other point, too.
We always do.
Yep.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
that's right.
One other thing I had shared also is, I had quite a bit of hourly savings this year. It equated to probably 2 full-time positions, like I've absorbed positions in the past. I could do that now. I'm not gonna do that. I could go back and reevaluate some staffing positions and reclassify some people. I don't wanna do that. I want that money to go back to the county so that we can fund the pay raise, step increase for those employees.
I don't know how the other committee members feel, but if you'll forego those cars for these first 6 months, and we'll revisit that later. But I'll support your pay plan because I know how important it is to you and your guys.
I appreciate it very much.
I'm in agreement with that.
Thank you.
And we gotta do, whatever we do for sheriff, gotta do for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%, 100%.
All of them that are
Yes,
in
sir.
that position.
They're right there with them. I
We'll be
believe
right there with you.
we'll put a good hour, 10, 15 minutes in, so. Cool.
Just a question, what would the other department heads think if we give to them and nobody else? Is that gonna be a problem for any of y'all?
It's gonna kill the morale everywhere. They say what?
And we haven't even seen what schools are gonna bring to us.
Yeah.
He's getting $70 million in basic education program money.
Yeah, but, let me ask you, well, media talk, I wanna know if he's getting an increase, a bump in his from state money, can we take some county money?
No.
I've been told different.
There's mechanisms
I've
that
been
they
told
say we're giving away them.
If his enrollment's down, I think that you can, but see, they're getting such an increase. I thought they were getting a huge one because they're at 62 and it's going up to 70, but he's got this 3.8 million that came in because of that online, but he still is getting a good increase.
The BEP money is great. I mean, $2 million, $3 million increase.
And when you and I looked at, I think he's at 62.
In my way of looking at it, if he's getting that big a bump, and if
It
it's
might be
holding
free.
its own on, then we gotta take some
We
some
can.
away.
We just got to figure out how to do it.
Okay.
Other counties are not giving as much as we are. I
I
know
know,
that for a
that's what
fact.
I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing too.
I can check with Mary Ann Dursky if y'all want me to call her.
And you asked a question about the other departments. He's in a little bit different position. They post a job and they fill theirs. He's having a hard
He's
time
having
doing
a
it.
hard time filling it.
And
I know, I've heard.
I've been a big supporter of this as a retention tool, and I stand behind it.
Well, I wasn't here when y'all put in the step back in the past, the difficulties they had bringing in and hiring. So I'm not saying would vote against
Well-
his increase. I'm just gonna give it a little bit more
Sure,
thought before I
absolutely.
commit.
And that'll give us time to go through all these other budgets, and we'll meet up again next week at 4:30. Same time, same place.
So next week, we will end up bringing, the agencies.
Yes. The agencies will review, which should not be very difficult, but
And then we can decide what y'all want to do. I also noticed on the solid waste budget, her transfer station, I've got it estimated that it may go over, so there might be a budget amendment needed on that. Otherwise, that will be a finding.
we'll discuss that
Okay.
on the 28th.
Well, and the committee gets together, they need to understand it and bring us some kind of a recommendation.
The
Yeah.
solid waste committee needs to call a meeting and call it fast.
Yeah.
Because this is something that we all need to be fixing, not just 4 or 5.
Anything else?
No.
Motion to adjourn.
I've got a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Wade, second by Glover. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you all. Appreciate it.